It's not safe at all. It's about to blow up. It could happen tomorrow or during this show, and it would shine like a second sun in the sky. Recently, the James Webb Telescope saw Betelgeuse, the red star at the shoulder of the Orion constellation, become 250% brighter all of a sudden. People are excited about a rare show because of this strange behavior. Some people think that the sudden increase in light could mean that Betelgeuse is getting ready to go supernova, but no one knows for sure when it will happen. Some experts think it might happen soon. Come with us as we explore the depths of space and try to figure out what this huge star is hiding. The movie Betelgeuse might change the way we think about the world. Even though not many people know its name, you've probably admired how bright it is. A golden light shining brightly at the shoulder of Orion, a well-known constellation. The size of Betelgeuse is mind-boggling. Its surface would go beyond Jupiter's orbit if it were put in the middle of our solar system. We are still amazed by this huge star that is easy to see. Because it is so close to our galaxy, Betelgeuse changes in a way that we can see over time. It is a semi-regular variable star, which means that its brightness changes slowly as it moves toward a supernova explosion. Recently, Betelgeuse has become even more interesting because the lighting has changed in strange ways, including a big jump on May 20, 2023. Scientists were shocked when the Beetlebot Twitter account, which was created to track Betelgeuse, reported a 142% rise in brightness and then a 150% rise in brightness in a more recent update. The astronomer Andrea Pree from the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics says that Betelgeuse is now the seventh brightest star in the sky, 3 spots higher than it was before. From the southern hemisphere, Betelgeuse is easy to see at the shoulder of the constellation Orion in the early evening sky. Astrophysicist Dr. Sarah Webb from Australia's Swinburne University of Technology talks about how important Betelgeuse is. It's a rare chance to see the last few days of a huge star's life, which can teach us a lot about how red giants behave before they explode as supernovae. Betelgeuse might become very bright for about a week after it explodes, potentially making shadows at night. Both amateur astronomers and expert astronomers are very excited about this possibility. Heidi Morris, a scientist at Los Alamos National Laboratory and head of the Padaro Astronomers and Astronomy Club, talks about how people have been interested in Betelgeuse's brightness changes for hundreds of years. Betelgeuse's light cycle lasts about 130 days right now, which is a lot less than its normal 400-day cycle. Astronomers can study this stellar event in great detail thanks to these fast changes, which put light on the last stages of a star's life. Betelgeuse started acting strangely in 2019 after it pushed a chunk of its atmosphere out into space. These changes in brightness are common for Betelgeuse, which makes people wonder if it will explode into a supernova. A paper written by Pree and other experts from Harvard and the University of California, Berkeley, says that Betelgeuse won't return to its normal 400-day brightness cycle for another 5 to 10 years. Recently, Betelgeuse has changed how it behaves in terms of its light and rotational speed. Betelgeuse is still a huge red supergiant star in the last stages of rapid evolution, even though it acts in unpredictable ways. When the core runs out of fuel, its huge mass will cause it to fall, which could cause a supernova explosion that can be seen from other galaxies. Dr. Grower, an associate professor of physics at the University of Portsmouth, said that it is not clear when this explosion will happen. It is still hard to predict supernovae because there isn't a lot of information about past events and stars evolve in complicated ways. Betelgeuse is going through fusion processes right now, moving through elements like helium, carbon, oxygen, silicon, and iron. As a red giant star, it takes thousands of years for the helium in its core to turn into carbon. In the end, it will fuse heavier elements until it can't keep up the fusion processes anymore. This will cause it to collapse under its own weight, which could create a black hole or a neutron star. There are rumors that Betelgeuse is about to blow up, but records show that it has been getting redder over the last 2,000 years, which means it might be a while before it goes supernova. According to NASA, Betelgeuse probably won't burst for another 100,000 years. This means that it probably won't happen in our lifetimes. Even though there is a lot of doubt, scientists are still fascinated by Betelgeuse's behavior, and it has led to new discoveries about how stars evolve. Even though it's unlikely that we'll see Betelgeuse explode in our lifetime, Dr. Sarah tells us to stay open to new possibilities. Keeping an eye on how it changes could lead to more scientific finds. This serves as a reminder to never give up hope for finding new things in the universe. It's important to remember that what we see in Betelgeuse are really just hints of the past. The star's light is more than 600 years old. It's possible that Betelgeuse has already gone off, but we wouldn't know it yet. This is a possible outcome, but it's not a given. Through history, we can see that our ideas about science can be wrong. Before 1987, scientists thought that supernovae could only happen in red supergiants. But that year, a giant blue star in a different galaxy exploded, which shocked the scientific community. We still have a lot to learn, and things may surprise us. By looking at Betelgeuse and other huge stars, we can learn more about how stars work. Even though there hasn't been a big blast, Betelgeuse's behavior right now is interesting. Its movement back and forth between fading and flaring shows interesting physics. It's amazing that stars pulse on timescales that humans can understand. Based on its normal 400-day cycle, Betelgeuse is much brighter than expected right now. There is hope that it will eventually return to this cycle, though it's having a hard time doing so right now. New observations show that Betelgeuse may be nearing the end of the core carbon-burning process or already in the late stages of it. At this stage, carbon is changed into stronger elements like magnesium and oxygen. If this is true, experts say that within a few tens of years, the core could break, which would lead to a supernova explosion. But it's still hard to say what stage of growth Betelgeuse is in, and there are still a lot of unknowns. There is a small chance that we will see Betelgeuse's explosion in our lives. The carbon-burning phase can last up to 1,000 years, and the study that says an explosion is about to happen has not yet been accepted for release. But it's exciting to think about the chance of Betelgeuse going supernova. It would be a very strange event that could be seen for weeks, even during the day. When the time comes, the first slight but clear signs of the supernova will be neutrinos sweeping over Earth as high-energy photons escape from the expanding cloud of stellar debris. It will get brighter over the course of a week, and by the end of that week, Betelgeuse could be 10,000 to 100,000 times brighter than usual. This amazing show will amaze anyone who gets to see it, and it will go down in astronomy history as a major event. Betelgeuse's explosion could have left behind a single spot of light that was as bright as a quarter or half of a full moon. Surprisingly, this brightness could be seen during the day, and at night, it would make beautiful shadows. It could be anywhere from 15 to 250 times brighter than Venus, which is the second brightest star in the night sky right now. The sight of Betelgeuse's explosion would stay with us for about 100 days, fascinating astronomers and giving us a rare chance to see the effects up close. The good news is that Betelgeuse's explosion wouldn't hurt people because it's still a long way away. With binoculars and telescopes, we could watch the game for a long time without getting hurt. But someone would have seen such a stunning event. In the past, supernovae were often seen as bad signs, and Betelgeuse's death could cause interesting responses around the world. Astronomers think it might even spark a broad interest in astronomy, waking up a whole society of people who don't know much about it. We don't just have Betelgeuse as a red supergiant. Some people, like Edi Carney, may fly away before it does. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, should have a supernova about every 50 years, but we haven't seen one in 400 years. However, we've seen remnants of past explosions, which suggest that a truly amazing cosmic event is coming. It will only be a matter of time before the next star shines brightly for everyone to see. There have been many important events in Betelgeuse's past, such as the Great Dimming in the fall of 2019. Astronomers were confused by this never-before-seen drop in light, which made them think that it might explode. Even though Betelgeuse's brightness went back to normal by April 2020, no one knew why it had become less bright until more observations put light on the problem. Skywatchers can easily see Betelgeuse from their own yards, which helps science learn new things. But telescopes like the Hubble help scientists learn more about the star and how it changes in important ways. People all over the world are interested in Betelgeuse's dimming and possible explosion because it would be the closest supernova ever seen by humans and a beautiful astronomical event that will be remembered for generations. Betelgeuse is a huge star that doesn't last as long as our sun. Hey, Betelgeuse will definitely go through a supernova at some point, changing into either a neutron star or a black hole, based on what it leaves behind after the explosion. However, A lot of astronomers say that the dimming of Betelgeuse shouldn't be directly linked to a supernova. They think that more normal things, like the action of convective cells or the presence of a dust cloud, might be to blame. Astrophysicist Miguel Montigue from the Paris Observatory led a group that used the Very Large Telescope in Chile's Atacama Desert to take high-resolution pictures of Betelgeuse. These pictures put light on the Great Dimming. These pictures, which were taken between January and December 2019 and January and March 2020, showed what caused the fading event. The group came to the conclusion that the event was probably caused by activity in convection cells and the presence of a dust cloud. Detailed pictures clearly showed that the lower left part of Betelgeuse was getting much darker, and that change didn't change much during the observation time. This led to the conclusion that the dimming was caused by a cloud of dust that most likely came from Betelgeuse's surface erupting in a big way. A huge amount of mass was thrown out by this event, much more than what is usually seen in stars like our Sun during coronal mass ejections. Scientists think that this eruption might have been caused by a cloud of gas bubbling up from inside Betelgeuse, which was helped by the liquid's normal pulsation cycle. Scientists have been very interested in Betelgeuse's recovery from the Great Dimming, but they still don't know the exact cause or process. After more research and computer simulations, it was found that Betelgeuse's brightness was going down because of a cloud of dust partly blocking its southern region. This finding was backed up by computer simulations and detailed pictures taken before and after the dimming. It was clear from more than 10,000 simulations that this scenario fit the facts the best. This team's theory, which is backed up by careful observations and computer simulations, has given us important new information about why Betelgeuse is dimming. Astrophysicists like Meredith Joyce from the Space Telescope Science Institute in Baltimore, Maryland, were sure that this answer was correct. This shows how important it is to keep studying and observing to fully grasp the complicated nature of stellar events. Regularly, Betelgeuse is one of the 10 brightest stars in the sky. Astronomers are aware that it dims about once every 425 days, a process that causes it to suddenly lose about a quarter of its brightness. But in 2019, astronomers were shocked to see Betelgeuse's brightness drop by 2/3, which was so big that it could be seen with the human eye. This great dimming was linked to a big event in 2019. Betelgeuse had a major explosion that blew off a lot of its visible surface. This event caused a huge surface mass release, which doesn't happen very often in stars and was the main reason why the light was getting dim. The gas and dust that were thrown out were about 400 billion times bigger than a normal coronal mass ejection. They messed up Betelgeuse's internal forces, which is like taking a piece of material off of something that is spinning, which made the star move in rough ways. Because Betelgeuse's heart and stability are still recovering from what happened, it acts in strange ways, like bouncing or oscillating inside. These studies tell us a lot about how red stars lose mass as they get close to the end of their lives and might explode in a supernova. Astrophysicist Andrea Pre, on the other hand, stresses that Betelgeuse's recent actions don't always mean that a supernova explosion is about to happen. She has been putting together information from many places, like NASA's Hubble Space Telescope and other telescopes, to figure out what is going on with this old star that seems to be acting strangely. The huge amount of mass that was ejected from Betelgeuse's surface, which was seen for the first time, messed up its normal 400-day pulse cycle, which shows how strong the explosion was. The star's surface is still changing as it goes through a regeneration process, even though the top layers look like they are back to normal. Scientists say it's like a wobbly gelatin treat, which means it's still unstable. This event is important because it has never happened before. Scientists have never seen such a large part of a star's visible surface being blown away. It means that surface mass ejections might be very different from coronal mass ejections that are seen in stars like the Sun. For thousands of years, people have been interested in Betelgeuse. It has captivated minds from all over the world and shows how interesting celestial events can be.